Okay.
All right, hi out there, all you club members. As you can see, Billy and I are getting ready for Christmas. I'm sure out shopping, getting ready to find what to send Aunt and Ellie and all the other people that you might have on your list. But anyway, we are really excited here, not only because we're able to show 3 beautiful wines, but also we had rain this last week. And as you all know, that's something we are in dire need of. Billy, you want to tell what does it mean to us in the vineyard?
Well, especially in our dry farm vineyard on top of Foxen Canyon, we rely on rainfall, and in a short rainfall year, it's very difficult. So we rely on these. It seems like we need about 10 inches minimum, and right now we're halfway there, and I'm really happy about that. And we're supposed to get more next week and finish December in a wet pattern. So that's all I can be is excited right now that it's happening, and see what happens.
Well, since the whole year has to be determined, the crop size and the crop load has to be determined by rainfall, and you're pretty...
Yeah, because we were a little short in 2020 on rainfall, actually in 2021, but the vines are still relying on good rainfall in 2020 and even 2019. So they're very deep rooted in the dry farm situation. But everywhere else, all the other vineyards, who doesn't appreciate rain in California during the winter? It's been awesome. And we're getting some nice cool temperatures too. And that's really important for our dormancy. The vines need to rest, and if it's not cold, they're not going to rest.
Well, talking about water and talking about rain, our first wine is our dry farm Tinnaquac Vineyard Chardonnay, 2018. Pretty amazing. This little vineyard that we planted back in '89 has survived, in spite of everything. And it has yielded not abundance, but has yielded some pretty marvelous fruit.
Yeah, there you can see that was my hand with 4 Wente clusters in it, and so that is actually less than a pound. These clusters you can see have a lot of shot berries in them, and the shot berries reduce the juice to skin ratio. So we have a higher skin to juice ratio than regular big Chardonnay clusters. And that just adds for some very nice complexity and mouthfeel because we're getting a lot of skin contact in that press load. The other thing I want to say is I have a good story about the Tinnaquac Vineyard. When we planted it in 1989, it was Jesus Olvera, one of our first employees, actually our first employee. And then I forget the name of the family. It was Ramon and his son. But the following year, I was on the tractor disking for the first time in this vineyard and was wondering why the rows were like not straight. They were like just crazy. And then I started disking up all these beer cans. And Ramon had been drinking all day, whatever the cheap beer it was he drank. And so it made sense that we have crooked rows up.
So it's a true adventure to disc in the Tinnaquac Vineyard.
Yeah. So the Tinnaquac Chardonnay, this is the 18 version, a great year. It's always a passion wine for us. Not that any of our wines are not passion wines, but it's because Dick and I hand planted this vineyard, and it was the beginning of the Foxen, the whole deal. And the Foxen family.
I had to drive all the space because Billy claimed he wasn't tall enough. Yeah, it's unctuous.
So tell us why the 18 was such a good vintage.
Okay, 17 we had that monster heat wave. 18 was when you think about what can be crazy during vintage, 18 allowed us, was just nice every day. So it allowed us to bring everything in comfortably, and there wasn't any pressure. And it was not a what we call a compressed vintage, where everything gets ripened all at once. We had a little bit of that in 2021 at the end, where we had a lot of the Happy Canyon stuff.
What was the
ready.
rainfall in 18?
Rainfall in 18, I didn't look it up. I'm sorry, but I think it was ample, because if we can get 2 to 2.5 tons to the acre, that's ample for the Tinnaquack vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
This wine, I have this recipe from Mark Miller. It's called Lobster and Scallop Tamale with vanilla butter. And you just take that corn husk and you spread some, you've marinated butter in vanilla bean, and you do that for a while and then let it set up again. And you spread this vanilla butter on the corn husk, and then put pieces of lobster and scallop in there, and then you just wrap it up. So no masa at all. And you just warm it up on the grill, and it's fantastic with this wine.
Chardonnay?
Yeah.
All right.
Just unbelievable. Or even, just a lobster roll is really nice. But you can get lobster anywhere now. You can always get it from the East Coast, but it's our lobster season here in the Channel Island lobster, and they are great. More flavorful than the Maine lobster.
You want to talk about the clone, the Wente clone, and how, what makes it, I mean, you showed the small little grapes.
Right, that's what makes it.
But how, you got here in a suitcase by the Wente brothers way back in the 1800s, and you planted.
It was an alligator suitcase too.
Yeah. Anyway, he brought it here, and then it went from there,
Right.
and it went to the first vineyard planted
In Santa Barbara County.
which was the Nielsen Vineyard.
Right, 1964.
And that's where we went over.
And that's where we
stole
got
cuttings.
that's where we got this wine. So we went over there at night and liberated some of the extra
Cost
wood
us
on
a
the
few
vines.
cases of wine.
Okay, and then I have a picture in there of vine balance. If we want to move it up a little bit, this is what the Tinnaquack Vineyard looks like when we open the canopy up and have done a little bit of leaf pulling and thinning. And you can see on that vine, it's really balanced. We love to see things balanced along the length of the vine without any kind of one cluster touching another. And so everything is fully exposed to not just sun, but air, which is very important to keep mildew pressure down. So that's our goal. And our farming costs are usually pretty high, especially in this vineyard. But it's all worthwhile. That's a great shot. We do a lot of hand touches in the vineyard. This is an example of that. We go through 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 times a year to address whatever the vine stage is at that point.
That means that our people are having to touch each vine so many times, 5 times, 6 times a year, and take time at each vine. So it all goes into the cost of farming our way.
I want one of those tamales right now.
I've got some scallops in the refrigerator.
Oh, but
Okay.
that'll be good with the scallops
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah.
Very, I hate to say Burgundian, but it really is. It's not.
It's more overworld.
It's not California fat.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Julius.
Yeah, Julius, Julius is a special story behind Julius, and some of you have probably heard it, but we sort of got access to this fruit by accident. It was Jess Jackson, the late Jess Jackson, happened to own the parcel next to our ranch in Foxen Canyon. And he was visiting for the weekend, and he came to the winery with some of his entourage. And it was a year that all the wineries were very short on Pinot Noir, and we called it the Pinot Wars because people were stealing other people's fruit. Anyway, he tasted our wines and said, "Hey, you guys appear to be doing a pretty good job. Is there any way I can do to help you? I like helping small wineries." And I said, "Yeah, let's give us some fruit." So it turned out that Billy and I, we worked out a deal with them, and we've been getting 4 tons of fruit, 5 tons, sorry, I'm getting corrected already. 5 tons of fruit. I was all correct up till then. 5 tons of fruit a year, and making this wonderful, wonderful Julia's Vineyard. You want to talk about Julia's Vineyard, by the way? I mean, the age and
Oh, okay. So what we deal with is vines that were planted in 1972. And you can see in the picture here, starting to get a little red leaf, but the vines are just in really good shape because they do such a good job farming them. They farm a lot of Pinot Noir, and they take special care in this because this is the grandfather of the whole Cambria vineyard. At this point here, you can see we've been through veraison, which is the color change. And this is our last chance to go in and kind of clean things up. You can see we've got some cluster touching in there. And during this point, we always get this June gloom in August and September, and we get wet from the marine layer. And what you don't want is clusters touching one another, because the fog will collect in there and then will start a rot going. And so this is our last chance to get in there and thin it. I don't have a picture of us post thinning, but you can see some of that stuff.
how many of those you think you'd take out?
Probably about 10 on that one side.
Is that why
No,
the grapes
5,
cost so much?
5 and 5. So 10 clusters at the most. We just want to kind of even it out, like you saw in that Tinnaquac Chardonnay picture of it being nice and even and balanced.
So Doug has a question here. And it's not showing the whole question, but wants to discuss how it's different than the rest where we source this Pinot from Cambria. Is it different from their primary Julias?
It is, because there's only 2 blocks planted in 1972, and they're sourcing from pretty much wherever they can on the ranch, which is a lot of Pinot Noir blocks.
Yeah.
So
that's
they're actually doing at Cambria, they're doing all their clonal specific stuff, and then Julia's, and then I think the rest is going to
up north.
Up north. Yeah. So I'm sure that they take just as much care with their Julias as we do, but because our Julias is only this much, and we take a lot more care of it.
Yeah, well,
It's very dear to us. It is 100% the mark.
They're making 10,000 probably.
Yeah, and of all of our Pinot Noirs, the thing we get out of it is like feminine power. It's all the critics always call it more, I hate using feminine and masculine, but that's what they say, is that this is softer, more feminine than some of the other presentations of Foxen Pinot Noir. But it's always got this nice kind of middle power in the wine. And so I just call it girl power. Julia's always great.
She's a mature woman.
I think the thing that's so unusual about Julia's is it can come right after bottling. We can bring a bottle home, and it's beautiful. It's approachable and wonderful. And that same wine, we can get another bottle and age it for 20 years or 15 years.
And it's still the same.
It's still the same.
That's what you get with a mature woman.
Yeah. Wow. This is a nice
This
bottling.
is really, really nice.
You're
Yeah,
gonna enjoy this.
How much new oak do you
Well,
use on the?
you know, on all of our single vineyard Pinots, we target 1/3,
Mhm.
but if you say 1/3, you're going on your estimates for the harvest. And if we get a lot more wine, it's going to be down to 25%.
Yeah.
If we get a lot more, I mean, a lot less, it's going to be up to maybe 40%.
Mhm.
So it depends on the vintage. But we try, you know, the whole point of our Pinot Noir making is to try to show up the site and not any barrel or any hands or anything. Just try to make it representative of the site.
And you don't fine or filter.
Right. And I think we're doing a really good job of showing the site. We've been working with most of our sites for quite a bit now. And we're starting to kind of have a really good idea of each expression.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And this is what, 100% Pomard clone,
it is.
which it makes a difference from some of our others, like the Block A, which are more Dijon clone. Tends to be,
This is our only 100% Pomard
yeah.
wine.
Mhm.
Oh, but I think we do a Cabernet that's Pomard.
That's a joke, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, food,
Food, yeah.
just
Wow.
Anything.
nothing too spicy, nothing too rich. Just go really easy.
And pork
Roast-
chops. Pork
roasted-
chops. Ooh.
Roasted chicken breast and stuff some like some thyme and cheese under that
Little
skin.
boursin.
Yeah,
the
just
skin.
really easy. Just simple roasted meats, salad. Not really a winter salad, but in the spring and early summer, a Santa Maria strawberry salad with just arugula and simple stuff would be, yeah, delicious for lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe sprinkle some pomegranates on it for the winter.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, just got some pomegranates.
Yes, so that is the day. Anyway, showing beautifully, going to age forever, hopefully, and tasting really well now.
You don't have to age it. I have it with, I'm doing beef bourguignon, Julia's recipe for Christmas. This would be all over it.
All right, I'm going to pour you some.
Anything?
Oh, it was a comment from Bill and Carrie. Looks like Julia's goes well with those nifty Christmas jackets.
It does, it does. So anyway, this next wine that we're doing is one that's very dear to both of us. One, because it's cropped from our little Williamson Doré vineyard that Jenny and I have here on site. And it's named after Billy's mom, Jean Marie O'Callahan. So Billy, you want to tell them about this wine? And
This is a really fun wine to put together every year. Let me see. Should have a picture there somewhere of there.
Well, I'm trying to see the Q&A.
So Williamson Doré Vineyard, planted in 1990.
1989.
89.
Okay, 89.
No, 90.
No, 99.
Excuse me, 99. Yes, I'm
Oh
sorry.
my
The year we
You
bought the
got me
house.
confused.
And we bought the property and
December and
dug a hole to make sure the soil was okay, which it sort of is. And we went from there, and that was in 99. And when was our first wine? Our
we
first
started-
wine was 2001.
We ripped,
2001 or 2.
we ripped the soil in December of 98.
Yeah.
Okay, so this wine is generally a GSM, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. But most recently, I've been kind of tweaking it into a Grenache-based blend because I'm a huge Grenache fan. And Grenache is the Rhone Pinot Noir. It really is, and it's this wonderful wine. And if you've ever bought or drank any Chateauneuf de Papes or some Gigondas, the base of those wines is usually Grenache, especially Gigondas, and they're just very, very delicious and food-friendly wines. For the most part, our Grenache and Mourvedre are put together, but in some years we add Syrah when the Grenache or Mourvedre seem to want a little muscle. The Syrah will add that, and it changes a little bit what you want to match it up with food-wise, because it's got the Syrah in there, so it can deal with a little more of that roasted food, or a little bit more spicy food. But you can see, if we go to the next shot of the canopy at the Williamson Doré, you can see this is where we've just gone in and opened the canopy up by hand, and the berries are beginning to size up. They're pea-sized right now. And what we'll do when the clusters get fully advanced and sized up, we'll go in and do a little cluster manipulation and remove any kind of shoulders. Grenache has a tendency to have these large shoulders like Syrah does. And we'll clean that up. And then again, like we were talking about with the Chardonnay and the Pinot Noir, eliminating the overlap, clusters that are overlapping one another, that this one in front of this one in behind is not going to see much sunlight or get much air movement. So we're eliminating those. So again, we're reducing crop, not to reduce it yield-wise, but to reduce it for quality and just balance. And I think if you could say what the hallmark word is for Foxen wines, I think it's balance. Across the board, every one of our wines is balanced. It's not over this way or over this way. They're all right there in this really, really beautiful place.
And true to sight as well.
So can you talk about the barrel regime for the cuvee?
Oh, the Cuvée Jean Marie does not see any new oak. It just sees kind of 1 and 2 year old puncheons, 500-liter French oak puncheons. So it's not going to have, I don't like the way that Rhone varietals interact with oak. Pinot Noir and oak are a natural. Cabernet and oak are kind of a natural in certain amounts. But I like the Rhones to be more of a pure expression without any oak influence.
How about questions out there?
And, this beautiful with, okay, I've done a pork tenderloin roast, and you cut that sucker open and put some chorizo and craisins in there, and then tie it back up. And it has this natural affinity for a wine like that. It's beautiful.
All right, you guys, it's time to give these guys some questions.
Is anybody out there?
I think they're all asleep, except I know Doug is there.
There's somebody just popped up.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt really quick. This is Riley, everyone who's on the call. I'm Billy's daughter, working IT for the meeting. And I actually have a question of what is the difference? Because I know we've launched the Heritage Chardonnay this year or end of last year. And can you talk about the difference between the regular Tinaquoque Chardonnay and then the Heritage bottling of it?
Yes.
Good
The
question.
Heritage Chardonnay is from the heritage vines, if you want to call them the 5 rows of Wente clone that Dick and I
First planted, first.
kind of velarded, flew by night, thinning the vines up at the Uriel Nielsen vineyard and bringing them down and storing them in bins of sand to root them, and then we planted them the following spring. So we took those vines in the winter of 89, 90 and planted them that spring. So we have 5 rows in the Tinnaquag vineyard, and that's where that heritage label comes from.
And aren't they bilateral cordon rather than unilateral? Or
They're unilateral.
okay,
The whole, yeah.
I thought they were a little different.
Okay, and let's see.
What type of cheese for this blend would you recommend?
For this, oh, I'd have something with a little bit of blue in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a good German blue that's very mild.
Yeah.
That's nice with this.
Nothing too strong, just really light. And
Maybe the
it'd be
Gouda.
really good with,
Gouda.
there's a local restaurant here in Los Olivos, Bar La Cote, that has these saffron buns that would be unbelievable to take one of these saffron buns and just put a little blue cheese in it. And this would be all over it.
Yeah. Someone wants to know how Rosie is.
Rosie's awesome. She just had her spa day yesterday. So she's all full of it.
And Timbo has eaten dinner, otherwise he'd be right there in between you.
And Timbo's really good too. He's getting severely attached to Dick, we've noticed lately, because Dick got to the winery the other day and had Conan with him. I mean, Timbo, speaking from a long time ago. And he went down to the ranch house to check on something and forgot he had Timbo. And I watched Timbo run the 1/4 mile down Foxen Canyon Road, following Dick in his car. And he must have been going 40 miles an hour. And his gait was probably about 8 feet. It was unbelievable. It was so
He's a runner.
a beautiful thing to see this animal doing what he loves to do.
All right, so what wines would you recommend for Christmas to accompany either lamb, shrimp, and shrimp gumbo? Ooh, that sounds yummy. And what's drinking best? And by the way, opened the 18 Cab Franc this week, and it was fantastic. Thank you, Doug.
Who is it?
Nice. Okay, so for lamb, I go with any of our Rhones, red Rhones, or something like the Los Potreros. I think the current vintage is the 16, so it's had a lot of not just barrel age, but bottle age now, and it would be perfect, depending on if you're serving it with the sauce and what the other things on the dish are. For the seafood, if it's not too sauced, our Sauvignon Blanc is all over it. I'm doing Sauvignon Blanc for Christmas Eve with shrimp albondigas, and I think it's going to be a big hit.
And we're going to have.
But we're also going to have lager, just a simple lager with the albondigas too.
Oh, yum.
That's great.
And some of Chef Rick's jalapeno cheese rolls.
We're going to be enjoying the sparkling Chenin with some Dick's Paella.
Oh, that'll
along-
be beautiful.
And the little Cab Franc.
Yeah. But what does Doug say? He's got something else there.
The shrimp gumbo.
Okay, shrimp gumbo. The South Block would still go there.
Yeah.
I'd go white.
That's
You
a
know
little
what?
spicy.
How about rosé?
Yeah, oh,
No.
good.
Pinot Noir rosé would be awesome. Or if you have any of the Mourvedre rosé, well, I know that we don't anymore, but it'd be beautiful with that
Mhm.
and easy.
Yeah.
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 And quaffable.
Any other questions? Oh, thank you. So with this little brief interlude here, can you let people know, I know that they got something from Katie in regards to the new schedule for Anchor Club.
Mhm. Okay.
And this will be just the Anchor Club.
So for all you wine club members out there, there's been a format change in the club shipments that as of 2022, there'll be 3 shipments of 4 wines each.
Instead of 4 shipments of,
Instead of 4 of 3,
yeah.
there'll be 3 of 4. And there'll be February, April, and November. It's just better shipping days, the way the world of shipping is these days.
You
And,
only have 3
climate
shipments to look for.
yeah, and all the cold holds and heat holds, they're just better shipping windows for us. And you only have 3 shipments instead of 4.
So they'll have their first shipment in
February,
February.
yeah.
Yeah, so coming up. A good question here from Susie and Dave. Have you ever considered Tempranillo?
When I was in Spain, I drank a lot of Tempranillo, but I'm not interested in any more kind of obscure varietals, because this is what we do. These are the varietals we do. And I think it's more important, rather than to branch out and start doing something else, to concentrate on these.
And we are doing 28 different ones. So
That's a lot for your
That's a
marketing
lot.
team.
If you are looking for something Tempranillo-like from us, our Guillermo Grosso, which translates to Fat Billy, is Cabernet Sauvignon and Sangiovese, kind of a 50-50 blend, and it really, really works with the kind of food I would serve Tempranillo with.
Rather than the pajarito.
So I think pajarito would work great too, but pajarito is a little bit fatter,
yeah,
and I would want something with less fat, and the Guillermo Grosso brings that.
that's nice. Garoppolo with-
Yeah, thank you for that
lasagna.
question.
All right.
Actually, before you guys
Any more
sign off,
questions?
sorry, this is Riley again. Jenny, there's a couple of questions that have come through in the Q&A, which I'm happy to read unless you have
Oh,
visibility.
here, let me tag on it here. Oh, there they are. Oh, good. Perfect. Thank you. All right, from Mickey. How about the sparkling Shannon with crab cakes as start? Ooh, yeah.
All over it. All
Yay.
over it.
A
Yeah.
plus.
Scott Olson, length of growing season with your Pinot in Santa Maria Valley.
Usually bud break. It could be as early as late January. For the most part, we hope that it's because of frost situations. We hope it's early March in most years. And then the usual harvest date is for Julius somewhere in September, depending on
Pretty close to the beginning, isn't it?
Well,
pretty much regulated by the heat days during our growing season.
Well, Scott's clarified his question. So the Jean Marie versus the
Oh.
Santa Maria Valley Pinots.
Okay, so I would say they're about between
3 weeks.
Julia's and Williamson Doré Cuvée,
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
3 weeks to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So that puts us in very late September or in some years, very late October.
And the bud out at Williamson Doré is a little bit later too.
Yeah, it's colder in the San Ynez Valley during winter, and it's warmer in the Santa Maria Valley during the winter. So we get earlier bud break. But in the Santa Maria Valley, we have a long growing season because of the marine layer every night and the
Cool
wind.
summer, yeah.
So we don't get a lot of solar window every day for those leaves to photosynthesize. We get leaf cupping, which, you know, the leaves are only working at 50% efficiency.
Very, very. Any more?
Any more questions?
If not,
All right.
Let you-
Enjoy this old picture of Dick
That's
and
not
Bill.
old.
Hey, this is 1987. That's the beginning.
Billy's
That's
hair
the-
was dark and Dick had hair.
Dick looks pretty dapper right there.
Yeah, hey. I was standing.
You look like Dick Graff back in the
I
day.
know. Well, Jesus.
My
All
two
right.
my two mentors.
Yeah,
There you
well, there we
go.
go. Look at that. That was our first application to make alcohol. All
At the
right.
shack.
At the shack.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
Dick, you built that door?
He
Dad
Yes.
did
built that door
Yeah.
that fell apart.
twice.
Anyway, it's been lovely, and we'll let you guys go out and do your Christmas shopping and
Stay healthy. Get your booster if you haven't
yeah,
already
get
done.
your boosters so we can all have fun.
Thanks for being part of the Foxen family. Most of all, it's always awesome to either see from you all or see you all or hear from you all. It's just great.
All right, whoops, we got one more
All right,
Q&A
okay.
here, one last one here, I think. Do you have any vineyard tours?
For $1 million. No,
Sure.
we're planning to. We're trying to do it
If we can,
in a kind of an organized fashion on a day where we can dedicate like a half day to a vineyard tour and a special tasting and stuff
Maybe lunch.
when we can all get together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think in the near future we will.
all right, well, just lots of thanks, and we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight.
And and we'll see you
We'll see you in the new year.
in February,
February.
the next shipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there'll be a February.
All right.
Oh my God, there'll be 4 wines.
All right.
All right. Oops, one more Q&A here. I
All
think.
right.
Nope, I think we got
It's a thank
everybody. That's just a thank you. Everybody, thank you. We're signing off.